You can start now. Your time.
Okay. Hi, good morning to everyone. Myself, Nishant Sharma, and here I am to present on the topic for the risk assessment and process evaluation.
Nishant,
Yep. Hello.
uh, the Shreya Gupta will going to introduce you, Nishant.
Okay.
Thank you, Ridhima. A well-defined business plan and management can be successful only if risks are properly assessed. However, the degree of that success depends upon risk analysis, management policies, planning, and activities. Wish you all a very good morning. I am C.A. Shreya Gupta, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Commerce, Parul University, and I welcome you all to today's webinar organized by Faculty of Commerce on the subject Webinar on Risk Assessment and Process Evaluation in Business. Our expert speaker for the day is C.A. Nishant Sharma. He's a divisional president, Federation of Rajasthan Trade and Industry. He's also the director of SK Khaitan Infra Projects Private Limited. Sir is a managing partner at Sharma Nishant and Associates Udaipur. He's currently managing financial, operational, and administrative field for one of the contractors at Zawar Mines, HZL Vedanta. His key focus areas are MIS reporting, operational coordination, commercial and contractual framework, and managing day-to-day administrative issues. Sir has got a wide experience in management consultancy and internal audit. His other significant achievements are he was promoted to the post of assistant manager at Anisha Associates in 10 months. He was awarded as consistent performer by T.R. Chadha and Company. He was awarded as proactive leader at GMCS conducted by ICI. He's formed a registered society at Udaipur district level, namely Rang Tarang, and had organized many functions on its behalf. Was an active member of the Interact Club, which is Rotary Club at school level. He's also treasurer at 40 Udaipur Division for the year 2017-19. It was a pleasure introducing you, sir, and I welcome you on behalf of Faculty of Commerce, Parul University, and I request you to take charge of the session.
Thanks a lot, Shreya, and thanks for the nice introduction over here. Thanks a lot, and I would like to thank Parul University also just to let me have this opportunity to discuss about the risk assessment and process evaluation in the business. So this topic is basically about the need of the hour in a business. The simple accounting and simple debit credit is not sufficient in the today's scenario. So we have to step ahead in the business evaluation. So the risk assessment as well as the process evaluation is a key factor in making a business profitable. So let's start with
Hello.
this. Hello. Okay. So we'll start with this. So first of all, we'll discuss about what is risk. Here the risk means any kind of possibility where any negative or bad thing that can be happen. As we all know, future is always uncertain. So we always plan for that. Risk is that possibility or probability where our planning get wrong. So if the result is not positive or is not as per our expectation, then it means the risk has surpasses our planning. So say for an example, if you are planning a road trip to reach your destination, it also involves a risk. Risk is you may start late, the tire might get flat during the trip, petrol is not sufficient, the general service is not properly given. So the result is that you'll reach late to your destination. So this is a risk. Now what control you will do in this? You will start on early date, you'll check all the things in your vehicle, you'll have a good general service so that your output, your result will be reaching on your destination on time. Say, let's convert this example into a business. You are planning to start a new venture. Risk involved in that also. Risk are you might have a low work experience, you might have a fund shortage, you might have lack of staff, you might have lack of networking, etc. So this all result into a negative situation of your business, which may result into a loss or which may result into shutdown of your business. तो रिस्क अगर हम देखेंगे हमारी लाइफ के हर एक एक्टिविटी में, हर एक प्रोसेस में रिस्क इन्वॉल्व है, बी इट इनटू अ पर्सनल एक्टिविटी और बी इनटू इज योर बिजनेस एक्टिविटी. तो रिस्क से हम चारों तरफ से घिरे हुए हैं. तो द फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट थिंग इज टू अंडरस्टैंड द रिस्क. और रिस्क का जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट है वो हमारा आउटपुट और रिजल्ट पे कितना इम्पैक्ट दे सकता है वो हमको अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेनी है. उस अंडरस्टैंडिंग को हम कहते हैं रिस्क असेसमेंट. So here now this starts with the exercise of the risk assessment. Every activity which involves risk needs to be assessed well in advance so that you can have an effective control in that place to minimize the impact of the risk. So risk assessment can be internal or external. Both have their own advantage disadvantage. Say for a business, if a business is there, business can do a risk assessment internally by deploying their staff, by deploying their additional staff over the different departments and different activities. External is you are hiring the expert persons or external agencies to support your business activity to identify the risk involved in that. Okay, so in the initial stage, the business may start with the internal staff support, say it is a cost saving area, and later on, as and when the business gets expanded, definitely you should go for external expert support for assessing the risk. Say we'll take an example. Internal assessment जब भी हम करते हैं किसी भी एक एक्टिविटी का या डिपार्टमेंट का, over a period of time what happens, that person who is assessing the risk is also gets involved into that activity. I'll take an example. Suppose in a purchase department, a business which is having a purchase department, वहां पे एक person he has deployed to assess the risk in the purchase department. So now over a period of time what will happen, जो वो पर्सन डिप्लॉयड है उसको सारे लूप होल्स या रिस्क फैक्टर्स का पता लग चुका है परचेज डिपार्टमेंट में. नाउ व्हाट कैन हैपन, ही माइट मिसयूज द लूप होल्स और द रिस्क एरियाज टू misuse or the divert the fund into his own benefit or might against the benefit of the business. तो हमें क्या करना है, एक इंटरनल असेसमेंट अप टू अ रेंज तक हमको रखना चाहिए, उसके बाद में एक एक्सटर्नल असेसमेंट करना है so that we can have a cross multiple check over any risk or any business activity. So now one more thing which is important in our business in today's life is that about the technology. Our whole total business is now dependent upon the information technologies. All kind of fraud and all kind of risk which we are facing in today's life is technology driven. So it's not important कि हम लोग ट्रेडिशनल जो मेथोडोलॉजी है वो उसमें कितना एक्सपर्ट है. हमको आज की तारीख में कंप्यूटर टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन होना, टेक्नोलॉजी सेवी होना बहुत जरूरी है. इवन फॉर अ मैनेजमेंट पर्सन हु इज नॉट एन इंजीनियर, हु इज नॉट अ कंप्यूटर फ्रेंडली, लेकिन अगर वो किसी भी बिजनेस में किसी भी जॉब में आगे जाता है, देन टेक्नोलॉजी सेवी होना इट्स अ मस्ट. इफ सिंपल एन एग्जांपल, आज जितने भी लोग हैं हम लोग सब कहीं ना कहीं बैंकिंग से जुड़े हुए हैं. हमारे जो हम चेक साइन कर रहे हैं, जस्ट थिंक ओवर इट. हमारे जो पुरानी जनरेशन है, हमारे जो फादर मदर थे, वो जितने चेक यूज करते थे और हम जितना यूज करते हैं, कितना उसमें डिफरेंस आ गया. हम लोग नेट बैंकिंग से, IMPS से, गूगल पे, पेटीएम से ज्यादा काम करते हैं एज कम्पेयर टू दी ट्रेडिशनल बैंकिंग ऑफ हम बैंक में जाके पैसा जमा कराएं, पैसा निकालें. सो नाउ व्हाट हैज हैपेंड, टेक्नोलॉजी ने हमको ओवरड्राइव कर दिया है. अब जितने भी फ्रॉड हो रहे हैं वो किसके थ्रू हो रहे हैं? थ्रू इंटरनेट, थ्रू योर मोबाइल, थ्रू योर लैपटॉप्स. तो हमको उसके अंदर रिस्क असेस करना इट्स मस्ट. इसके अंदर रिस्क कैसे हो सकती है? विल टेक एन एग्जांपल. हम लोग नेट बैंकिंग यूज करते हैं जिसमें आईडी होता है, पासवर्ड होता है. एज एंड व्हेन वी एंटर आईडी पासवर्ड एंड वी गेट इनटू द नेट बैंकिंग पेज, और वहां से हम हमारे बैंकिंग ट्रांजैक्शंस कर सकते हैं. आई विल टेल यू अ गुड एग्जांपल. मैनी टाइम जो भी फ्रॉडस्टर्स होते हैं वो क्या करते हैं, एक फेक पेज क्रिएट कर लेते हैं जो सिमिलर होगा आपकी नेट बैंकिंग की वेब पेज जैसा. इट लुक लाइक दैट ओनली. you'll get into that. आपने आईडी डाला, पासवर्ड एंटर किया एंड जस्ट टू क्लिक एंटर, और ऑल ऑफ सडन वो पेज डिसअपियर हो जाएगा. व्हाट यू फील? बोले यार ठीक है, हो सकता है माइट बी सम इंटरनेट प्रॉब्लम, समथिंग बंद हो गया. हम लोग वापस नई विंडो ओपन करेंगे, अगेन नेट बैंकिंग पेज पे जाएंगे, फिर अगेन आईडी पासवर्ड हम लोग क्लिक करेंगे. बट बाय द टाइम यू विल गेट इनटू दैट, you will see your all funds has been flushed out. So this is a classic example where fraudster what he has done, उसने एक फेक पेज क्रिएट किया जिससे उसने आपके क्रेडेंशियल्स ले लिए, आईडी पासवर्ड के आपकी क्रेडेंशियल लेके वो आपके घर में एक तरीके से एंटर हो गया. एंड नाउ व्हाट ही हैज डन, जितना मनी आपके यहाँ पड़ा था वो उसने ट्रांजैक्शन उसकी कर ली. एंड बाय द टाइम यू हैव रीच्ड, आपको लगा सब मेरा घर खाली हो चुका. इट्स अ सिंपल लाइक अ रॉबरी केस जो ट्रेडिशनल जमाने में होती थी, आपने चाबी उसको दे दी एक तरीके से. नाउ व्हाट हैज हैपेंड, अब हमने ये रिस्क असेस करी, बैंकों ने भी असेस करी, हम लोगों ने भी करी. हम इसकी रिस्क असेस करके हम लोग कंट्रोल्स डिप्लॉय करते हैं. अभी आज के दिन आप देखोगे नेट बैंकिंग जैसे ही आप लॉग इन आईडी डालते हो उसके बाद में भी वो आपसे एक ओटीपी मांगता है जो आपके रजिस्टर्ड मोबाइल नंबर पे आएगा या रजिस्टर्ड ईमेल आईडी पे आएगा. देन यू विल गेट एंटर इनटू द होम पेज ऑफ द नेट बैंकिंग. देन जब भी आप ट्रांजेक्शन करने जाओगे अगेन वन मोर पासवर्ड आपसे डिमांड करेगा विच इज द ट्रांजेक्शन पासवर्ड. सो व्हाट ही हैज डन कि उसने एक जगह चेक नहीं लगाया, एक दो तीन चेक लगा दी कि कहीं ना कहीं अगर कोई फ्रॉडस्टर है या कहीं कोई गलती हो रही है तो वो कहीं ना कहीं पकड़ में आ जाएगी एंड यू विल एबल टू मिनिमाइज द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ द रिस्क और द लॉस. सो इसी तरीके से हमको डेली रूटीन लाइफ में, डेली रूटीन बिजनेस ट्रांजेक्शन्स में जितने भी एक्टिविटीज हैं बिजनेस के, जितने डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, उसमें वी हैव टू कंसिडर द इवैल्यूएशन ऑफ रिस्क. वी हैव टू असेस द रिस्क एंड दैट. ओके, so now risk assessment gets varied depending upon the nature of industry or the business. जैसे जैसा business है, जैसी जैसी industry, उसके हिसाब से risk assessment भी क्या होता है, vary करता है. Let's say an example, inventory management, stock inventory stores जो है उसका अगर हम उसको समझे कि उसके अंदर risk कितनी है, तो for a gold or a diamond business, gold और diamond industry, उसमें inventory management ज्यादा critical है. Reason being उनका जो hardcore जो एस्पेक्ट है वो उनका स्टॉक ही है, स्टोर्स ही है. तो अगर वहां इन्वेंट्री में हमने लूप होल रख दिया या रिस्क में हमने हाई जोन रख दिया तो हमारा बिजनेस टोटली शट डाउन हो जाएगा. रादर देन टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री में अगर आप कंपेयर करोगे तो वहां अगर इन्वेंट्री मैनेजमेंट थोड़ा अप एंड डाउन भी होगा देन इट इज ओके. सिमिलर टेक एन एग्जांपल, क्वालिटी कंट्रोल की हम बात करते हैं तो फार्मा या एफएमसीजी बिजनेस जहां मेडिसिन बन रही है, खाने पीने का सामान बन रहा है, वहां पे क्वालिटी कंट्रोल टेक केयर करना बहुत जरूरी, बिकॉज इट डायरेक्टली इम्पैक्ट्स योर ब्रांड एंड डायरेक्टली इम्पैक्ट्स योर बिजनेस. रादर देन कोई गिफ्टिंग कंपनी है जहां पे कोई आपने गिफ्ट परचेज किया है, किसी को गिफ्ट शेयर कर रहे हो, तो उसमें कोई इशू नहीं आता है. वहां पे अगर क्वालिटी का कोई अप एंड डाउन भी होता है वेरिएशन तो नॉट एन इशू. सो लाइकवाइज द रिस्क असेसमेंट गेट्स वेरी विद द बिजनेस. नाउ रिस्क आल्सो गेट वेरी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द क्वांटम ऑफ मनी इन्वॉल्व्ड. से यू हैव नोटिस्ड वन example or one risk area in your any business activity, but its impact is say for rupees 500, so it's not that worthy. But say if you have identified a purchase order which is fake and having a value of rupees 50 lakhs, then yes, definitely the risk involved is high into that, because the risk is depend upon in which type of business or what kind of quantum of money is involved into that. So risk is always situational, but इट इज कंसिस्टेंट. हम ये कभी नहीं कह सकते कि हम रिस्क फ्री जोन में है. कोई भी बिजनेस हो, कितना भी बड़ा बिजनेस हो, एवरी बिजनेस प्रोसेस, एवरी बिजनेस एक्टिविटी somehow or other is involved into risk. रीजन, क्योंकि कोई ना कोई बिजनेस एक्टिविटी, कोई ना कोई बिजनेस प्रोसेस कौन कर रहा है, इट्स अबाउट ह्यूमन ओनली. इफ से वी से कि हम लोग सब चीजें आईटी पे आ गए हैं, लेकिन एंटर कौन कर रहा है, कंप्यूटर को ऑन कौन कर रहा है, इनपुट कौन दे रहा है, इट्स अगेन द ह्यूमन. तो जहां भी ह्यूमन है वहां पे रिस्क का चांस रहेगा ही रहेगा 100%. नाउ वन मोर इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट इन द रिस्क इज रिस्क मे बी इंटेंशनल और अनइंटेंशनल. कोई भी फ्रॉडस्टर, आइदर एम्प्लॉय हो या फ्रॉडस्टर हो, एनीबडी, risk which happens in any business activity or business process can be two way. It can be intentional or unintentional. Intentional, definitely it becomes a fraudster. मतलब उसने जानबूझ के बिजनेस को नुकसान पहुंचाने के लिए वो एक्टिविटी, वो रिस्क, वो पर्टिकुलर उसने एक्ट वो किया है जिससे कि बिजनेस को नुकसान. अनइंटेंशनल इज उस व्यक्ति को पता ही नहीं था उस चीज के बारे में, अननोइंगली उससे वो गलती हो गई. बात सही है, हम सजा किसको देंगे, इंटेंशनल को या इंटेंशनल, अनइंटेंशनल डेफिनेटली, लेकिन रिजल्ट जो है दोनों का वो हमारे लिए क्या है, नेगेटिव है. तो इन एनी बिजनेस, इफ एनी एक्टिविटी और एनी प्रोसेस इज हैविंग एनी काइंड ऑफ रिस्क, मे बी इंटेंशनल और इंटेंशनल, हमको उस पर फोकस होना जरूरी है, बिकॉज वो बिजनेस के लिए क्या है, नेगेटिव है. अगर अनइंटेंशनल, अननोइंग है, देन एम्प्लॉय को क्या करेंगे, हम ट्रेन करेंगे उनको, उनके साथ में हम लोग काउंसलिंग करेंगे एंड विल मेक देम अंडरस्टैंड कि कैसे चीजें होती है, क्या कंट्रोल. लेकिन अगर इंटेंशनल है तो हमें फोकस करना है कि ये अगर एक व्यक्ति ने किया है तो दूसरा भी व्यक्ति हिसाब से कर सकता है. वी हैव टू डिप्लॉय द कंट्रोल्स ओवर दैट. ओके, सो लेट्स मूव ऑन टू अ सेकंड डेफिनेशन, process evaluation. Now, process is what? Process is any set of activity which needs to be performed while doing a job. Say, in a business, if you are passing a bill, हम अकाउंट्स डिपार्टमेंट में कोई भी बिल अगर पास होता है तो वो बिल पास होने का एक सेट ऑफ एक्टिविटी है. जॉब इज व्हाट? टू पास अ बिल, टू रिलीज अ पेमेंट. ओके, सो उसके लिए वो क्या करेगा? सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट चेक करता है, जो भी क्रॉस डिपार्टमेंट्स है उनके साथ उस डॉक्यूमेंट को वेरीफाई करता है. देन जो वेंडर्स की जो डिटेल्स है उसको क्रॉस चेक करता है, पेमेंट को सर्टिफाई करता है, देन ओनली द पेमेंट विल गेट रिलीज. अब ये जो पूरा प्रोसेस है, वी हैव टू इवेल्युएट दैट. Process evaluation is a key factor in assessing the risk. If suppose what happened, let us take an example of accounts only. We'll do with that. एक accountant के पास में एक bill आता है कि सब this bill we have, this item we have purchased, now we have to make a payment. So first thing what he has to understand is ये जो purchase हुआ, was that required? क्या ये purchase की requisition किसी ने दी थी? क्या ये वास्तव में रिक्वायर्ड था? पहले वो उस यूजर से क्रॉस चेक करेगा. सेकेंडली क्या है क्रॉस चेक कर रहा है कि क्या वो मटेरियल वास्तव में रिसीव हुआ है फिजिकली, या ये खाली बिल पे आया, पेपर में आया है. तो फिजिकल इंस्पेक्शन भी उसका वो चेक करेगा डिपार्टमेंट के साथ में आके. देन जो वो मटेरियल आया, क्या वो रिक्वायर्ड क्वालिटी का या रिक्वायर्ड टर्म्स कंडीशन के साथ में आया था, वो चेक करेगा. देन थर्ड थिंग, उसके बाद में जो भी परचेज ऑर्डर जो प्रोसेस हुआ है, क्या वो डिफाइंड ऑथोरिटी की पावर के साथ में, ऑथोरिटी के सिग्नेटरी के साथ में प्रोसेस हुआ है. एवरीबडी इज अवेयर अबाउट दिस परचेज. जो रेट थी उसकी, जो कॉस्टिंग थी, वाज इट डिफाइंड प्रॉपर्ली? अगर ऑल दिस थिंग्स आर प्रॉपर, देन व्हाट ही विल डू, द अकाउंटेंट व्हाट ही विल डू, ही विल मेक अ पेमेंट एंड रिलीज द पेमेंट टू द वेंडर. अगर इन केस इसमें से कोई भी एक्टिविटी अगर अकाउंटेंट नहीं कर रहा है, दैट मींस रिस्क वहां पे इन्वॉल्व है. नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन, अगर परचेज डिपार्टमेंट को पता लग गया कि अकाउंटेंट मेरा कभी ये पूछता ही नहीं है कि इसकी कॉस्टिंग आपने चेक करी कि नहीं करी, देन व्हाट आई विल डू, मैं हायर प्राइस पे मटेरियल परचेज करके और पेमेंट रिलीज करा दूंगा. अगर यूजर को ये पता लग गया कि मेरे पास ये क्रॉस चेक करने आता ही नहीं है कि मेरे को ये मटेरियल रिसीव हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, या ये मैंने मटेरियल मंगवाया था कि नहीं मंगवाया था, देन व्हाट विल हैपन, मटेरियल अगर नहीं भी आया है, खाली बिल आ गया, देन ओनली द पेमेंट विल गेट रिलीज. So risk is involved in every business activity. So what we have to do, हमारे को जितने भी business process है उसको meticulously we have to evaluate so that we can identify कि risk का loophole कहाँ पे है. Okay, so let's take an example of purchase function again. Purchase department का काम क्या है? Just to monitor and regulate the purchase of the required material well in time and cost effective. मतलब अगर कोई material मेरे को timely चाहिए तो वो अवेलेबल होना चाहिए, सो दैट मेरा जो भी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग या प्रोडक्शन जो मेरा साइकिल है वो हैम्पर ना हो, मेरे को बिजनेस में लॉस ना हो. एंड सेकंड थिंग व्हाट इट डज, कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव होना चाहिए. मींस रॉ मटेरियल की जितनी परचेजिंग हो रही है वो शुड बी, जो उसकी प्राइसिंग है, जो कॉस्टिंग है, इट शुड बी एट मिनिमम साइड. ओके, तो ये परचेज डिपार्टमेंट का इज अ मेजर रोल होता है, वो डे टू डे एक्टिविटी में इसमें इन्वॉल्व होता है. So now let's take an example. ABC Limited has defined purchase policy which states that every purchase shall be supported by a purchase order. Okay, so हम लोग क्या चेक कर सकते हैं प्रोसेस इवैल्यूएशन में परचेज ऑर्डर के लिए कि जो परचेज ऑर्डर है इज वैलिडेटेड और नॉट, मींस हु हैज अप्रूव्ड इट. तो परचेज ऑर्डर कैसे हो सकता है? परचेज 1 रुपए की भी होगी, परचेज 1 करोड़ की भी होगी. So there will be a authority matrix which has been defined for it. किस वैल्यू का परचेज ऑर्डर कौन ऑफिसर उसको अप्रूव करेगा. तो फर्स्ट वी हैव टू सी जो भी परचेज ऑर्डर बना है या परचेज ऑर्डर जो हमारे सामने जिसको हम रिव्यू कर रहे हैं वो एज पर ऑथोरिटी मैट्रिक्स अप्रूव्ड हो विद द प्रॉपर साइनिंग एंड अप्रूविंग ऑथोरिटी. सेकंड, आर द क्रेडेंशियल्स करेक्ट और नॉट. क्रेडेंशियल्स का मींस, क्रेडेंशियल्स में इसमें वेंडर के क्रेडेंशियल्स भी आ गए, मटेरियल की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है वो भी आ गया, जो रेट्स उसके अंदर आ रही है रेट्स का कहीं ना कहीं सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट होगा परचेज ऑर्डर के साथ. बिफोर परचेजिंग एनी मटेरियल व्हाट वी डू, हम लोग एक कंपैरेटिव कोटेशन एनालिसिस करते हैं. एक आपको लैपटॉप चाहिए, अब लैपटॉप ओपन मार्केट में अवेलेबल है, तो हम लोग जो लैपटॉप परचेज कर रहे हैं उसकी जो प्राइस है वो प्राइस क्या होनी चाहिए? मिनिमम, क्योंकि परचेज का काम क्या है? कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव होना. तो वो क्या करेगा? 5 वेंडर 10 वेंडर सबसे कोटेशन लेगा, जो मिनिमम रेट है उसके साथ में वो क्या करेगा? आगे बढ़ेगा. तो जो भी क्रेडेंशियल्स हैं वो करेक्ट होने चाहिए. अगर सपोज विल टेक एन एग्जांपल, लैपटॉप ओनली, यूजर ने मंगाया कि मेरे को i7 की रिक्वायरमेंट है और आपने परचेज ऑर्डर किसका रेज कर दिया? i3 का. क्या वो सफिशिएंट है? नो, क्योंकि परचेज तो हो रहा है, मटेरियल आ रहा है, पेमेंट भी जाएगी, लेकिन वो यूजफुल नहीं है. सो रिस्क इज देयर. नाउ नेक्स्ट जो हम बात करते हैं वो यही है, वेदर द मटेरियल इज द सेम एज रिक्वायर्ड बाय यूजर. क्योंकि मटेरियल जो भी हम परचेज कर रहे हैं वो हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट को मीट आउट होना चाहिए। अदरवाइज क्या होगा, हमारा प्रोडक्शन, हमारी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, या अगर हम सर्विस सेक्टर में है, एनीथिंग इज देयर, वो सब की सब चीजें हैम्पर होगी। अगर वो हैम्पर हो रहा है, दैट मीन्स हमको बिजनेस में लॉस हो रहा है। सेकंड, वैलिडिटी ऑफ अ परचेज ऑर्डर। एवरी परचेज ऑर्डर शैल हैव अ वैलिडिटी। कोई भी परचेज ऑर्डर ओपन एंडेड नहीं होना चाहिए। आपने अगर कोई परचेज ऑर्डर आज देखा, उसमें आज की डेट लिखी हुई है, उसकी एक टाइम लिमिट डिफाइन होनी चाहिए। टाइम लिमिट उसकी डिलीवरी टाइम तक ही होगी, 15 दिन, 1 महीना, 2 महीना, वॉट एवर इज इट। इट्स नॉट लाइक कि वो एनुअल परचेज ऑर्डर है या ब्लैंक परचेज ऑर्डर है। अदरवाइज व्हाट विल हैपन, द रिस्क इन्वॉल्व इन दिस वाज व्हाट, मैंने एक बार परचेज ऑर्डर रेज कर दिया, मटेरियल मैं हर बार उस परचेज ऑर्डर के अगेंस्ट में क्या कर सकता हूँ, मंगवा सकता हूँ। तो वैलिडिटी डिफाइंड होना परचेज ऑर्डर की, इट्स अ मस्ट। देन डिलीवरी टाइम शुड बी डिफाइंड। डिलीवरी टाइम इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर व्हाट? आज आपने कंपैरेटिव कोटेशन एनालिसिस कर लिया, उसने कॉस्टिंग आपको मिनिमम दे दी, उसने आपको ये भी कह दिया कि सर ये आइटम मैं 15 दिन में आपको डिफाइंड कर दूंगा, लेकिन आपने परचेज ऑर्डर में वो टाइमलाइन लिखी नहीं, और 15 दिन की जगह सपोज वो 60 डेज हो गया उसको डिलीवर करने में। नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन, आपका बिजनेस सफर किया। अब आप उस पर अगर पेनल्टी लगाने जाओगे, इन लीगल टर्म्स ऑल्सो आप पेनल्टी लगा ही नहीं पाओगे, बिकॉज यू हैव नॉट डिफाइंड एनी काइंड ऑफ डिलीवरी टाइमलाइन इनटू योर परचेज ऑर्डर। आप जो परचेज ऑर्डर आपने उसको शेयर किया है, उसी को उसने एक्सेप्ट किया। सो दैट मीन्स लीगली अगर आप बात करो तो उसने कभी कहा ही नहीं आपको इन लीगल टर्म्स या राइटिंग टर्म्स में कि 15 दिन में मैं आपको मटेरियल सप्लाई करूंगा। ओके, सो this thing has to be very much clear. Now there are certain other conditions, जैसे क्वालिटी चेक की कंडीशंस होगी, रिटर्नेबल, अगर क्वालिटी सही नहीं आई तो परचेज को हम रिटर्न वापस कर सकते हैं, डिलीवरी टाइम है। सो जो भी जीएसटी, टैक्सेशन, ऑल दीज लीगल मैटर्स व्हाट आर देयर, दैट शुड बी डिफाइंड क्लियरली इन योर परचेज ऑर्डर। ओके, so the last is again this we have discussed, do they have cross check with other party for cost comparison? So वो चीजें हमको टेक केयर करनी है कि कॉस्ट कंपैरिजन हमारा होना चाहिए। ओके, सो दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ परचेज फंक्शन जहां हमने उसकी डिपार्टमेंट की जितनी एक्टिविटी है उसको हम क्या कर रहे हैं, इवेल्युएट करते जा रहे हैं। इवेल्युएट करते करते हर एक एक्टिविटी में हम क्या असेस कर रहे हैं, रिस्क, कि यार अगर ये चीज नहीं हुई तो ये रिस्क होगा, ये नहीं हुआ तो ये रिस्क होगा। अब रिस्क का जो इम्पैक्ट है वो बिजनेस में कितना है, वो कैसे डिपेंड कर रहा था, विच वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अर्लियर, कि हमारी इंडस्ट्री के हिसाब से वो कितना इम्पैक्टफुल है या वैल्यू वाइज वो कितना इम्पैक्टफुल है, वो रिस्क को हम क्या करते हैं, अच्छा उसके हिसाब से रिस्क का क्वांटम क्या होता है, डिफाइंड होता है। एंड देन रिस्क असेस करने के बाद में हम क्या डिफाइन करते हैं, कंट्रोल। कंट्रोल क्यों डिफाइन करते हैं, सो दैट रिस्क का जो भी इम्पैक्ट है, रिस्क जो हमको लॉस या नेगेटिव सिचुएशन में लेके जा सकता है, उसको हम क्या कर रहे हैं, मिनिमाइज कर रहे हैं। सो आज की तारीख में बेसिक अकाउंटिंग फंक्शन इज नॉट दैट अप टू द मार्क। व्हाट वी हैव टू डू, हमको एक स्टेप फॉरवर्ड आना है, हमको एक एनालिसिस पार्ट पे जाना है, जहां पे हम बिजनेस की क्या कर रहे हैं, बिजनेस के हर प्रोसेस, बिजनेस की हर एक्टिविटी, बिजनेस के हर डिपार्टमेंट की एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं, उसके हर एक स्टेप को इवेल्युएट कर रहे हैं, सो दैट हम उसके अंदर जो भी रिस्क कोर एरिया है उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर सके और उसको मिनिमाइज करने के लिए कंट्रोल इंप्लीमेंट कर सके। एंड वन मोर थिंग विच आई हैड एडेड इज दैट हमको टेक्नोलॉजी सेवी होना पड़ेगा। हम बुक्स पढ़ रहे हैं, दैट्स गुड इनफ, लेकिन नॉलेज बुक से आता है, अग्रीड, उसमें कोई आर्ग्यूमेंट नहीं, लेकिन जब तक हम टेक्नोलॉजी सेवी नहीं होंगे, टेक्नोलॉजी फ्रेंडली नहीं होंगे, विल नॉट बी एबल टू डिप्लॉय आवर नॉलेज ऑन ग्राउंड। क्योंकि आजकल हर चीज किससे चल रही है, थ्रू कंप्यूटर, थ्रू इंटरनेट, थ्रू आईटी। तो वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड। नाउ लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल अगेन। हम लोग जैसे शेयर मार्केट की बात करते हैं, बैंकिंग की बात करते हैं, ये सब किसके ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है आज भी, ऑन आईटी। ये इनके बड़े बड़े सर्वर्स हैं, उन्हीं के ऊपर चल रहे हैं। आज सपोज आपने कोई आपके IMPS आपने या गूगल पे आपने यहाँ से किया किसी को, सामने वाले पर्सन को 1000 रुपीज का। जस्ट इमेजिन कि आपने अपने मोबाइल से 1000 रुपीज उस मोबाइल नंबर या अकाउंट नंबर के नाम पे ओके करके आपने अपना फिंगरप्रिंट या पासवर्ड डाल के छोड़ दिया। सर्वर को कैसे समझ में आएगा कि ये उस बंदे के पास में जाना चाहिए? तो दैट मीन्स देयर इज अ वेब ऑफ मैट्रिक्स, पूरा मकड़ी का जाला बना हुआ है उस सर्वर के अंदर, जिसमें सारी लाइंस क्या है, एक दूसरे से कनेक्टेड। आई सिंपली कनेक्ट यू विद दैट। हम लोग जब पहले टेलीफोन लैंडलाइन थी या आज की तारीख में जैसे मोबाइल नंबर, आप जब भी मोबाइल नंबर डायल करते हो डायरेक्ट उस नंबर को जाता है, दैट मीन्स वो लाइन कनेक्टेड है कि ये मोबाइल नंबर इस पर्सन के साथ में रजिस्टर्ड है और वो सिम का उसका कनेक्शन उस मोबाइल में है, तो डायरेक्टली उसको रिंग हो रहा है। सिमिलरली बैंकिंग भी ऐसे ही चलती है, या शेयर मार्केट भी ऐसे ही चलता है। हमने जिस पर्सन को जो पेमेंट करनी है वो हमारे अकाउंट से डेबिट होकर सामने वाले को क्या हो रही है, क्रेडिट हो रही है। तो वो सब चीजें डिफाइंड कहाँ पे है, ऑन सिस्टम, ऑन सर्वर। तो अगर
Excuse
हम
me, Nishant sir.
या
Sir, we have actually many international students also in this group. So we are
Many?
requesting
Sorry?
that we use more of international students.
ओके,
So they won't be, yeah, they're not able to understand Hindi.
so they
So
want
I request you to please. They won't be able to understand Hindi. So we are receiving
Okay.
messages from some
English.
international students.
Okay, great,
Yes,
fine,
yes,
not an
please.
issue. So let's what
Thank you,
happened.
sir.
We are discussing about the banking function as well as the share market functions. So all these functions which are heavily dependent and whole database is maintained on the servers. Servers are totally run through internet only. So now what we are doing, in our traditional method, we maintain all these things by hand, but now all these things are maintained on computers and servers, and all these computers and servers database are maintained through internet, so that we can have the access globally anywhere in your world. So now every transaction, every activity of a business or every financial transaction is regulated through servers. So that means the risk involved in is here is what, any input which we are giving, if it gets incorrect, then the resultant output is definitely negative. I'll give you an example, a classic example of Bank of America. It's in earlier 90s. What has happened in the bank, as we again discussed banking, how the banking terms used is basically whole the database of a particular branch is maintained in IT servers. Okay, so how many accounts are there, their names, their telephone number, their address, their account balances, their transaction, everything is maintained on servers, on computers. Okay, so one fine day, one employee of the bank, what he has done, he has created a fake ID starting from Z, which is in the last number of the list of the account holders. Okay, so what he has done, he has made a coding. In every month, 10 cents from 100 of the account holders will be debited, will be deducted, and the total of the sum which is being deducted will get credited to the last account in the series. What he has done, from 100 of the account holders, 10 cents will be deducted, and total of the amount which has been deducted will get credited to the last account. He has done a coding into the software. So now computer, what we will do? Computer functions on the command. We all know that. So what he is doing in a month time, 2 months, 3 months, the 6 months have been passed. Every time, every month, what is happening from different 100 account holders, the system is deducting 10 cents from each account holder, and all the amount which has been deducted credited to the last account. Last account is held by that person. So he is getting the money without doing anything. Now, one fine day, one person came whose name also starts with Z, but the spelling, what the actual person who has came and opened a new account is now become the last account in the list. Okay, so what computer will do in this month also, it'll again debit or it'll again deduct all the amount from the 100 account holders and will get credited to the last account. But this time, this account does not belong to that employee, that belong to the genuine account holder. So it usually happen whenever from our bank something gets debited, we see it's maybe about some message charges, or maybe about some handling charges, some simple normal bank charges are there. But whenever you receive an amount, you always check that who has given this money to me. You always cross check with that. Okay, so now what happened with that Mr. Z? He's surprised. He says this amount has been credited to me, and this amount does not belongs to me. He reached to the bank. He detailed out the things. Then what bank has done? Bank has detailed the whole transaction from where you have got this money. Then as and when bank enters the amount, the total gets matched, this of the 100 number account holder, this amount has been debited and get credited into the same, because the coding is defined in the system. And for the last 6 months, it has seen this, the Mr. Z. Before Mr. Z, there was one more account. Whole of that account, which then they had cross-checked, they got to know this account was fake. And then that person, the fraudster, which has done intentional fraud into the system, has got. So, you know, we have to regularly cross-check our process, our policy, our activities. It doesn't mean once you have set a policy or once you have defined a policy and process, it's a foolproof or it's a risk-free. No. We regularly have to update our policy and procedures. You regularly have to check your documents. You regularly have to check your computer, servers, internet services always, because if we think we are 100% perfect, no, nobody in the world is perfect, because anyone who is into your business activity or who is handling your business process is definitely aware about the loopholes, and definitely one fine day will misuse that area. Okay, so we have, so now let's say now you have to dig up the data and analyze the trend and the ratio in the purchase of the company for a specific period. What you will have to do in any risk assessment or any process evaluation, if you are doing the documentation part, you will see it will be foolproof, because that person knows a process has been defined, a system has been set. So whatever activity he'll do, he'll manage that data, he'll manage that document in a fine manner. But now here our process start is that we have to analyze what? Have to analyze the trend and the ratio. If say, example we have say, every time there is a purchase from a specific vendor, say ABC, which is always below 50,000. We have taken a period for a 1 year. We have analysis, we have start analyzing the purchase, and we have seen a specific, there is a one vendor, single vendor, which is always there is the purchase order which is below 50,000 rupees. In a month is around 20 to 30 purchases are there, but it's always below 50,000. Something fishy is there to me. Why? Because if you are ordering for 20 to 30 times in a month, then you can order a single monthly order, purchase order single, that can be sufficient. But now what I have connected, that in a purchase order policy, it has been defined, if any purchase order which is above 50,000, that required approval from my senior officer. So here the intention of that fraudster comes before me. What he is doing, every time he is purchasing, he makes a purchase order below 50,000. Why? So that he doesn't need a permission of his senior. Now, why he is bypassing the permission of his senior? There's something might be fishy. So now what you will do? You will do a cost comparison. Then you'll able to see that this item, similar item, it can be purchased at lower rate. However, it has been purchased on a higher rate, but has not been noticed to the company because the approval authority has got bypassed. So, you know, in any kind of process evaluation or any kind of risk assessment, you have to analyze. You have to dig up the data. It's not like once you have entered into the Excel, once you have downloaded the data and it's like, oh, wow, we have done the thing. No, you have to start your analysis now. Okay, so you have to just think upon, okay, if you're able to see this two different charts I have prepared, it's a format, a simple format of a purchase order. I've just specifically focused on the numbers. So if you can see the difference between, and if anybody can let me know, or I'll just discuss if any time. Okay, I think everybody has seen. Now I'll start discussing what's the difference in between. You can see the vendor name is same, date is same, location is same, PO number is same. Okay, so what's the difference? Now serial number 1234, material description space ABCD space ABCD in second column also. Now, quantity, if you see, in the first is pair A, quantity is 65 and unit rate is 120. And in the other space A, quantity is 120 and unit rate is 65. Now here you see the difference. The total value will remain same, 7,800. So now what happens in the system? This we have currently in some of the client, we have identified this thing. What the control they have defined, or what in the process, in this process, the control they have defined, system will evaluate or will pop up if there is any change in the total line item. That means in case if 7,800 gets varied, means gets increased or get decreased, then only system will give you pop-up. So now what will happen? I'll approve the purchase order with the unit rate of rupees 65. Okay, your approval will get to you. And now will I change the purchase order to the unit rate of rupees 120. Now what has happened? The unit rate has got increased. Okay, and the quantity has got decreased. The total value will remain same. So system would identify that there is any risk or that there is any issue in that particular purchase order. But yes, there is a fraud there. Fraud has happened. I had purchased that specific material on a higher rate and with a lower quantity, which is a negative and loss to the business. Okay, so you know there are different kind of risk and different kinds of evaluation process which you come across. Every time you will come across something new, because the fraudster or any person who is involved into that, he also keeps on learning and evaluating new ventures, how he can develop the areas where he can misuse the funds of the business. So we also have to be always in a learning mode where we can identify new different areas and the ventures where we can control the risk. Okay. So this we were discussing about is just about not only accounting, not only commerce, it's not only about profit and loss, it's just about analysis and a vision of a business. So what we deliver is that we have to analyze, we have to identify the risk, we have to implement proper controls so that we can minimize the losses and the risk. Okay, see the impact of the computers and internet on business today. We are ordering all kind of groceries, medicines, vehicles, all daily routine and through mobile, through internet. We are transacting crores of rupees through net banking. Just imagine when once the banking has been introduced to the world. I mean, our forefather, when they have first seen the banking, you deposit money into our bank and we lend you the money whenever you require. How much time they have required for developing that confidence. Now what we are doing, what we are just tapping the numbers and just transacting crores of rupees over here and there globally. Share market are totally maintained on servers. We are just buying the scripts, the shares, we are just giving the money, we are just selling it, we are just receiving the money, all this through on internet. So we have to be computer savvy, we have to be internet friendly. So recently we have seen that one day the Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram is all one and they got held up. How much loss the company has suffered, 52,000 crores somewhere. So now the money is on internet. The money is on IT, so we have to be friendly for that. Hello. Yeah. So any business success depends upon its style of working and methodology. With the expansion of your business, you have to take up the new direction. I request you to kindly mute yourself. So, I mean, any business which is small, it's have a small risk zone, and a business which is having a high net worth area or into expanded network zone is having a high risk zone. But risk will always be there. So as per depending upon the business, depending upon its style of working, risk also gets defined. So controls can only be implemented when the risk is identified. When you are aware what kind of risk is there, yeah, what or you know what kind of result or impact will be there, then only you'll able to implement the control on that. Similarly, once the doctor knows what a problem patient is having, then only he'll able to prescribe you the medicine, or he'll able to identify the exact problem so that a proper diagnosis can be controlled. So this, for example, we have discussed is about the banking example, which we have discussed about how the fake site captures your ID, password, and all this thing. The control also we had discussed for that. The control this OTP is being sent in. Now let us see one more example. Stock taking, inventory management, where all the stock and the stores are there in a gold jewelry manufacturing unit, where the jewelry has been manufactured. What they do at the end of the day, they weighment of the material has been done and counting of the material has been done, and they gave the whole material into the locker room. Okay, it seems okay. Definitely, what you will do, whatever jewelry are there, you will just count it, you will again just weight it and just put into the locker room so that it will be keep and safe. One day what happened? One piece of ornament, one piece of gold ornament, when they were selling it, they found it was not gold, it was of silver. Now what has happened, what the fraudster had done, if say 500 grams of gold ornament was there, I had replaced it with 500 grams of silver ornament with a gold polish. So what I had done, quantity is same, counting is same, and I had make a gold polish on that, but I had replaced it with a cheaper material. I had replaced the gold with the silver. So now control what is there, a random quality check shall also be there at the time of inventory taking, at the time of stock taking. Okay, so in every business, in every process, in every activity, there are lot many different kind of risk areas. So every time you have to be cautious what kind of risk can be happen and what kind of controls can be implemented to minimize the same. So we should always tend to be in learning mode, since every transaction different from other. If say purchase is same, purchase department, purchase functioning as per the bookish definition is always same. In every company you will go the same object or the same definition of purchase there, but the risk and the fraud will be different in every purchase department of every business. So you have to relook again and again, then only you'll able to identify the new thing. It happened with us also while studying. If we are reading a same book, if we read for the first time, then something retained with us. If we read for second time, something more retained with us. Third time, fourth time. Likewise, we are traveling of a same route. If we travel same route for many times, then gradually you realize on one fine day, this thing was there which I have never noticed till date. Or while reading a book, you'll realize that this thing was there, this interpretation was there which I have never realized before reading it. So that means we always relook into our business activities and business processes. Okay, so what we have to do, apart from the basic accounting or basic management functioning, we should always focus on our surroundings. Always look with your surrounding, always look into your environment, what changes have been done. If any new employee has been entered, if any new software has been deployed, if any new policy have been there, new vendor has been developed, new customer has been developed, every change in the environment, every change in the surrounding needs to be cautiously taken care, so that you can identify the risk into that. Okay, so is our main focus is that to minimize the risk and to regularly evaluate the process so as to define the controls well in time. Okay, so that's the basic thing which I would like to discuss in today's session. Apart from the basic accounting or basic management function, we should focus more on evaluation of the business process and to assess the risk, because now the profit and loss of a business depends upon how minimum risk we are traveling. Okay, so now let's start. I think Shreya, we should have an open session.
Yes, sir. So I have received a few questions, but the students here, if you want to ask anything to sir, you can do so. Meanwhile, sir, I have received a question from a student. He wants to know that since you've been doing this risk analysis since quite a long time now, can you share any real life incident wherein आपने कुछ बहुत बड़ा risk का analysis किया हो और company को बहुत बड़े loss से आपने बचाया हो? Any that kind of real life incident?
I'll share one example. It's about the physical movement of the goods we have identified. The material had been loaded into the truck. It's been going, and it was moving through warehouse at 9:30 in the night time. And I was just crossing through that area, and I just had a look why this truck is going, because in silent hours, say after 7 p.m., that is known as a silent hour in that company. In silent hour, no truck movement is allowed. But that truck was passing. We immediately get onto that truck. We stop that truck, ask the security people to come with us, and in stores, stock warehouse people to come with us. Then we identified, we had opened this truck, many unwanted items was going out from the company. So a process has been defined, security was also there, persons of the storeroom warehouse was also there, but still the control was missing. At the night time only, the senior management came up there, and the next day they had specifically implemented one control. It's that the gate, the main gate of the factory is now controlled by the swipe machine, and that swipe machine is being given to the president of the factory. If any truck movement is there after 7 p.m., if it is into emergency, then the president will come and he'll swipe, and then only the factory gate will get open. So, many times what happens, if you are sitting on the table, if you are working on the laptops, you will not able to identify the risk, we will not able to identify the fraud, will not able to identify how the people will react. So you have to be on field while analyzing the process and the activity, because as I mentioned earlier also, the whatever functions and activity and the process is being performed by human. And what human is, the nature of the human is that he gradually understand that what kind of steps and what kind of process he needs to follow. What he'll do, he'll follow all those things. Now in that also, transaction, when the truck was leaving at 9:30, all the documents have been signed and sanctioned by 6:30 p.m. So if anybody if check the document time period you will see what at 6:30. So if I'll do a post-mortem, I mean, if I'll do the audit of that transaction, what I'll see, okay, the document is for 6:30, it is okay. But when physically we have seen, it was going at 9:30. So, there are lot many things are there which we have to physically have to be on that site, on that field. Then only you will able to identify the things apart from books, because the books and the system are totally managed. I'll tell you one more example. Say we generally use Tally in small businesses. You might have also used, many of the students also might be using those things. If you enter any entry in Tally, you are allowed to have a backdate entry. In Tally, you can always delete any entry. You can make new transaction. Everything is there. There is no trail defined. But in SAP, if you make any entry, if you delete any entry, if you make any modifications to the entry, all trail is being defined and is maintained in the system. So if we are taking a stock taking, or if you are doing a financial audit, say after 31st March, so none of the entry has to be entered after 31st March, or none of the entry has to be maintained after month end if you are taking a stock taking. What you can do, you can check the database of SAP. If any transaction is there, you'll get a trail, you'll get a list. Okay, this is this transaction, and they'll also give you the ID also, from whose ID it has been done. So these kind of, the risk and the control goes parallelly to each other. So whenever the risk happens, you have to deploy the control also, learning from the risk, what kind of risk and controls are going. So these are certain things which are, one more thing I'll give you, there are certain bogus payments in generally government companies or government department, we see majorly in that. It's similar like what they need a paperwork. As we are discussing about the purchase function, purchase requisition will be with me, purchase order will be with me, cost comparison analysis will be, and stock approval will be with me. And the invoice is there, I'll release the payment and made it. So now who has seen when physically stock came? So they are bogus payments, they are bogus salaries, this being released to the ghost. We generally use this term as a ghost vendors or ghost employees. So the misuse of the functions, misuse of the funds is always there in the business. So these type of things are there always. So we can.
Yes, sir. As you're saying that all these things, apart from accounting knowledge and all this, is very important. What kind of like what a student should do if he wants to make his career in this field, if he is interested in assessing risks for businesses?
Yeah, there are lot many
How should
courses
he shape
also. There are
his
lot
career?
many courses also in the. This is basically known as risk assessment consultancy or internal audit, you can say. There are lot many courses also which different universities or associations are organizing. You can say there's a Institute of Internal Auditors which is at Florida. You can pursue that course. From ICI in India also you have a courses of DISA and CISA, and from ICFI internationally ISACA, ISACA, there's an institute which also does the course of CISA. This DISA CISA basically this is a diploma and certified course in information and systems audit basically. So their main focus is on how to identify system functioning, because as we have mentioned all the functions process activities on system, so they generally get you through the business functioning through the computers, through the internet, through the technology. So again the IIA Institute of Internal Audit Florida, they also give you a different variations how the risk can be assessed. There are lot many case studies are there. Today you can see there lot many years we are into this business and this economy. We have lot many case study, we have lot many scenarios where we can see how many fraud has happened, and just you can just Google it about the list of frauds, and different kind of fraud you will able to identify. So the main thing which I'll ask the students and the people or who are attending this webinar is just to develop a mindset. The risk assessment or the process evaluation, this area as your career is only about your mindset. If you start thinking in that manner, definitely you will able to identify the loopholes or the fraud areas in any business process, business transaction, business activity very quickly. So it's again about more and more learning, more and more experience, and more of discussion. You can also discuss what it's when I can share my methodology, how I conduct this kind of risk assessment area. I generally discuss the business transaction with peoples. Say if we two are sitting, and I'll discuss with you how this business transaction or business process will happen. And every time my mind is like fraudster only. I'll just think, okay, I'll just think that where is a loophole or where is the gap is there where I can identify the risk and I can do the fraud. So your mindset is more important. Your mindset is being developed through your study, through your research, and through your work experience. This is a emerging field in today's scenario, because I'll tell you a classic example. Say we have seen the Computex, and there are lot many softwares are there. We are discussing about Tally. All the balance sheets and profit and loss and all ledgers are being quickly maintained through Tally, through Computex, and all these things. All the legal transactions, say for taxation purpose, also are being managed through systems, through software. So why are we required? Are we data operator then? So we have to step ahead. We have to, because we are human, we have the power to analyze. Computer don't have the power to analyze. Computer functions on the command only. Human works on their instinct, on their mind. So we have the power to analyze, to understand, and to question. We should question every transaction, we should understand, and we should analyze. Then only will be valuable to any business, we will be valuable to any company. Otherwise, if we are also doing the same anti debit credit, Tally also doing the same debit credit, then what's the difference in that? So we should step ahead, we should look forward, and definitely I recommend and suggest the students over here, please, because since we are not into IT stream, we are not doing any electrical computer engineering, so try to develop your interest in computer and internet. Apart from playing games and doing academic thing, but try to develop the areas in system, in internet, how you can identify the issues in the system. So that's my suggestion. That's it.
Okay, so a very recently received question. If any company is incurring a huge loss because of any fraud or
Share
there are
your
any risks in the company.
sorry, Share, your voice is cracking. If you can just again repeat.
Yeah, I just try to repeat it once again. So, student was asking that if any company is suffering from any loss because of any fraud or there's any risk that's present in the company, who is most responsible and who is most accountable for that? Who can be considered to be the most accountable and responsible for that loss or for that risk?
That's a surprising question, because who is accountable? The first and foremost person is who has done that particular fraud. He is definitely he's accountable into that. But yes, one more person or one more department, if you can say particularly, is about is any superior or any senior person who is above that person who has done the fraud. He is accountable. And then the second is the auditors who are being deployed over there. So again, I'll tell you what happened. The person who has done the fraud is again a human. The senior of that person is again a human. The auditor who is sitting over there and who is just checking the transaction is again a human. So it might happen they all three get involved and the transaction and the fraud has got happened. The actual accountability is about the policy and the control. That means I have never imagined that this kind of fraud can also happen, or this kind of activity can also happen. I'll share you the recent example. I'll just say it take 2 minutes again. Then this, it's a small showroom, two-wheeler showroom. It was there, and we had identified a fraud for rupees 35 lakhs. It's basically their cashier, their workshop manager, and their service manager was involved into that. So how we had identified, the workshop manager and service manager had bought new car, second-hand car they had bought. They were having new gadget like watches, new mobiles and all that. So in having 12 to 13,000 of salary, how you can maintain all this thing? So that particular incidence or event has triggered us to check the transaction. Then what we had done, we had identified two persons to check out the transactions physically again, because I have said earlier, in books, in papers, you will find each and everything proper. So what that physical check we had found whenever a person comes for service for his two-wheeler, that particular workshop manager, service manager, what they do, the job card, whenever they take cash from that customer and they destroy the job card and they pocket the cash. So in your audit trail and transaction, you won't find the job card. So you won't search for the bank entry or the cash entry. If there's no job card, then there's no cash. So, in every risk or any kind of loss to the business, my personal opinion and view is that the main accountability goes with the owner itself, that he had not identified that this kind of fraud or risk area, loop area will be there in my process. As we have mentioned earlier, you have to regularly check your business process, your business activity, and every kind of job, you have to regularly relook again and again, again and again. Don't sit and relax. So that's all.
All right, sir. So, yes, the questions, you've answered all the questions. And thank you so much for such an insightful session. I think this is an emerging field and this is the need of the hour. And at this point, you have advised the students to take this up as a career. And I think it's a great choice if they make. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experiences and for the knowledge. I thank you on behalf of Faculty of Commerce, Pali University, for sparing your valuable time on this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shreya. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, and thanks again, Par University, for allowing me to have this session. Thank you, Nidhi.
Thank you, Nishant, from my end also, that at a short notice.
No, thanks.
Hello.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah,
Nishant.
thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, Nidhi.
I
Thanks
know
a lot.
you are very busy, and within a short notice, you have
No, anytime. Thanks a lot.
given approval for this session. And thank you for sharing your valuable knowledge in the areas.
Definitely. Would
Thank you.
love to discuss again. Thanks a lot.